YouTube, what's going on? Thank you guys for checking out another one of my videos. So today we're going to be reacting as a barber to someone who decided to cut their own hair. It's obviously something that's popular right now during the quarantine. They get the most views. This one looks like it's a pretty high quality video. It's got like 2.5 million views, and it's a texture of hair that's for the most part pretty difficult for most people, for most barbers to cut, let alone an individual to do themselves. And so with that being said, man, it's going to be an interesting one. Let's watch it. All right, here we go.
So you're stuck at home and your hair is getting a bit too long, but you're not seeing a barber anytime soon. Well, today I'm going to teach you how to give yourself an undercut from the comfort of your own home.
I'm not sure that's an undercut. It's disconnected, but I'm not sure that's an undercut. It's disconnected on one side. This side looks like it's actually connected. This is just kind of like the fringe hanging over, but this is blended pretty nicely. It's only disconnected by the side part. This is more so a side part. Pomp, comb over. Let's watch.
By step. Who says you can't get a fresh fade under lockdown?
It's disconnected. Yeah, it's disconnected.
What you're going to need to cut your own hair is a pair of hair clippers, the attachments that come with it.
Look at those clippers.
A pair of scissors.
Look at those scissors.
A comb, a small brush. This is optional. A handheld mirror.
Who uses
and
that
hair
brush?
clips.
That is not an ideal setup, guys. That is a setup coming from a barber. That is a setup that's gonna make your job harder. Now, barbers like to say it doesn't matter what your tools are, you should be able to do a fresh cut. But honestly, if your tools aren't good, it makes the job harder. You still be able to accomplish a good haircut, but this clipper with no lever is going to make it harder to fade. With these guards, it's going to make it harder to fade. These scissors are going to push and pull hair. They're not going to have a clean cut. This comb, this brush, that's like for coloring hair or something. That's not, what's he going to do with this brush? All right, let's watch.
Is also optional.
That setup is crazy.
Step one is to wet your hair fully. This is going to help make your hair much easier to cut. And by the way, if you have any facial hair, I suggest you shave it to the final state that you want it to be in, so you can visualize your final look a little bit easier when you're giving yourself your haircut. Step two is to observe your hairstyle. See what you've got to work with, what foundation you have, especially if you have any parts in your hair. You want to make sure that you're aware of that so you don't cut the wrong hair at the wrong length. What you're doing here is giving yourself an undercut, but working with what you've got. We're not giving ourselves a 100% complete makeover here. Step three, it's time to fade your sides. If you have any hair clips, this is the perfect time to use them.
That was really good advice. The part where he said, you know, you're not doing a completely different haircut, you're just working with what you got. That's really good advice.
Look at it is in terms of layers. And within each layer is a different length. You're gonna start off with a lower clipper size and go all the way up to a little bit longer clipper size to create that gradual fade on the side of your head. I start off with 0.8 millimeters for that first layer, and I cut all the way up to the end of that imaginary layer. A little bit longer, but not necessarily too long, clipper size of 1.1 millimeters, and I go up to the second layer, essentially creating that gradual transition that creates that fade.
It's scary.
Once you're done fading that part, it's time to move on to part two of your side. Is you want to start off with a little bit longer clipper size. I start with 5 and I go upwards in a straight line. Imagine there was a ruler that would be lying on the side of your head. You're gonna go upwards. Once we've trimmed a little bit of the fat with the longer clipper size, we're gonna go to a little bit shorter one and really tighten up everything.
That's looking really good.
You're going to go to a longer clipper size. I go with 9.8 and I go downwards. I go inverted and really round off that corner of my head. And that's it. One side complete. Now we're moving on to the other side. And the other side is the exact same process, right? Let you guys know to subscribe, hit the bell icon. Now, step 4 is that we're done with the sides and it's time to fade the back. What I do is I clip all my top hair forwards. Now to see the back of your head, you're gonna need your handheld mirror. It's gonna be tricky sometimes, but you're gonna get the hang of it. Don't worry about that.
This is the most stressful part.
With the side of our head. Now I'm going to start off with this back corner, this back side area, and use my ear as a guide to go upwards, right? And create that first layer. Now, once that back side is done, we're gonna move on to the actual back, I would say. Create the same height that you've been cutting and continue it on, move it on to the other side. Continue on and connect to the side of your head.
Oh my god.
Once you're done with that, you're gonna see a layer from...
Guys, you could tell he's done this so many times on himself because he's really confident. The way he did this move right here, brought the clipper like that. I wouldn't even try that at home.
For the second layer, I'm gonna move my clipper up the back of my head, 1 layer height's worth. And I'm gonna follow the same process, right? Go to the other side, do the exact same thing, and for the back, go up 1 layer height's length, make that second layer. Now, the third layer is my last layer that I'm gonna create on the back of my head. I go all the way up and do that ruler trick.
You know how he was going that direction, but his hair grows down. By going that direction like that, that's why all these lines are there. I think he's gonna go back and clean it up, but just keep that in mind when you're cutting your own hair. You wanna make sure you're going against the hair growth pattern. If your hair is growing down, you wanna go up. If your hair is growing sideways, growing towards your left side, you want to go right, sideways going towards the right side. Hopefully that makes sense.
Once your back has been faded, it's time for step 5, rounding those back corners. You're gonna see kind of a bump show up on the back of your head. You're gonna get rid of that by not using the handheld mirror, but facing the big mirror that you have and really looking at it in that way. Now, once you're done, you're going to do the same thing as what you did for your side. You're going to invert. And with that, the back is pretty much done. But as you can see, there's still some cleaning up to do with the back of my head.
Definitely.
So I'm going to dedicate all of step 6 to cleaning up the back. You're going to want to do the inverted cutting down trick.
Guys, when you do that, you're not cutting. When you're going with the grain, nothing is going to be cut evenly. You're going to have like a lot of choppiness, long hairs and stuff.
Step 7, comb the top of your head towards your face, towards the front.
So he definitely played it safe in the back because he didn't do that 0.8 millimeter. He only did it on the sides, which is fine. That's sometimes I do the same thing because the back is harder to fade. The moment you do that 0.8 back here, it gets really, really hard. So I don't blame him for doing that. As a matter of fact, I would consider fading just the back out, just this area out. But it's a good strategy, especially for a home cut.
Step 8, which is cutting the top, of course. What we're gonna do is grab the portion of our hair that grows from the middle of our head and move it aside because we'll be cutting the bangs, the hair that grows right above the forehead. And we're gonna cut it to the middle of the forehead. That's kind of where I cut it towards. Look at how I hold my scissors. It's this vertical or rather diagonal
See how the scissors were
stance.
pushing a lot?
It's not horizontal. It's not flat. And that's very important because in this method, you're going to be able to cut your hair non-uniformly.
Very great tip. That's an awesome tip. Instead of making it look like a bowl cut by cutting it straight across, you point cut at it and it makes it look more natural, more textured. You know, I would consider doing that on the side as well. If you can see, do the same exact steps that he did where he took a layer of hair and point cutted it and then brought everything down and point cutted all this, right? I would consider doing that not just in the front but all the way around, because then you're gonna have a softer, more textured lay on the side. I would consider doing that as well.
For your undercut look, you can style this and cut this in many different ways, right? You can cut your hair a little bit higher and end it off at that corner of your head, or you can leave it laying down. I'm just gonna grab a little chunk and just start cutting off, and it's all about trial and error. Just cut.
That's a great tip right there. Grabbing all that weight that's hanging over and texturizing it. Now, he's doing a lot of texture. I would consider cutting it, starting from like here, from like midway through, and being a little bit more intentional. So maybe a cut here, a cut here, a cut here, and then a cut here. Not so high on the top like he has it. That's what I would do differently.
A little bit, put it down, see where it lays, cut a little bit, do it again, do it again. And
by cutting deeper into the hair shafts, you're gonna get a softer lay. What he's doing right now is he's cutting so high into the hair shaft that he's mostly cutting length as opposed to making it a softer textured look.
What's gonna happen is that eventually you're gonna get it to a position where it matches the length of your bang.
So look, it looks more so like he cut length and it still has bulk. because of the way he was doing that. Like, look how it looked before. See, I had way more length. It looked pretty good. It looked better in my opinion. He just needed to cut deeper into the hair shafts to get some of the weight out of it, not length. Where he was cutting so high in the hair shaft that now it looks
and it's
like more of a bowlish cut, right? It has more weight and stuff. I'm not hating. I'm just giving you guys and giving Jensen some, some nuggets to improve your self cut. So when you can't come see your boy and you've been cutting your own hair for the longest, and then you come see me, I don't have to work so hard.
it's gonna have this diagonal slant that connects with your bangs, and that's what's gonna make it look good. Finally, to reduce some thickness in your hair, I recommend you grab a chunk of your hair in the middle of your head and just start snipping away.
Yeah, see, still he's too high into the hair shaft. Be more intentional. Cut deep, like cut right here, and then skip over a ½ inch, cut right here, and then skip over a ½ inch, cut right there. All he's doing is cutting the top, and it's still gonna have a bunch of weight.
Do some trial and error and cut away, and you're essentially making it, a little bit more natural and make some more layers and texture. So once you've gotten that down, it's time for step 9, which is previewing your hair with water.
Once you wet it and you style it, it's gonna make any cut look much better. So that's one of the keys too, is just make sure you're styling your hair well.
Step 10 is the final cleanup. With your preview with water, you're gonna be able to see things that you can fix up, such as fades or bumps. Step 11 is to clean up your neckline.
So that's what he was using that little brush for. You could just use a little towel. I thought maybe you were going to use that for like when you were fading the 0.8 so you can clear some of the debris. But for that, just use a towel, guys.
The hairs and really defining that edge on your neckline. You got to be really, really careful and essentially create that line that goes and defines that edge on the back of your head. Another trick you can do is try to fade it a little bit, right?
It would be better if you guys try to fade it like he did on the sides with that 0.8, just because, it's going to grow back nicer and you don't have to worry about it being a symmetrical line.
Boom. Before.
Hey man, you killed it, bro. Like, you did a great job. There were definitely some things you could have done better, or I would have done slightly differently, but great shape. You guys can see the shape is very nice. Most people, what they really care about mostly is the front profile. I feel like barbers care more so on the side profile because we want to see the gradients of the fade, the overall shape. If you look at him head on, that looks great, man. Great job.
A messy haircut into now a fresh, faded undercut. Now there's one more tip that you're gonna need to know to be able to successfully cut your own hair, and that is to believe in yourself. Be confident that you can cut your own hair.
That sounds good until you cut that first layer of hair and you realize there's no coming back. Woo, it gets scary.
I've been cutting my hair for 10 years now, but I could say that 8 of those years were just complete failures.
8 years of failing? Bro, is it really worth it? Like, you do 2 haircuts a month, that might be $50, $60 a month, maybe $100 a month. For the most part, you're talking about $60 out of your budget a month. Damn, I don't know if I want to have struggle hair for 8 years just to get to this point. I don't know.
I had a nickname Monk for my grade 10 year because suddenly all my hair disappeared because I messed up.
I love the transparency.
When you have that confidence, you're just gonna be able to cut your own hair so successfully, and what's gonna happen is that you're gonna go to school or to work or whatever, and no one's gonna say anything.
Yo, that's great advice. You know you did a good job when no one says anything. You know you messed up when people be like, what happened to your hair? You might not get great cut or compliment, but nobody's gonna say you got a messed up cut. That's great advice.
And that's the best compliment, because that means
that's the best compliment. I love that.
No one knows that you cut your own hair.
Yeah, I like that.
So be confident, believe in yourself.
I really enjoyed this video, man. It was well done. Let's look at the comment section. Jensen, you did your thing, bro. Consider maybe taking it on as a profession. I don't know. I tried it. Looks like my lockdown just got extended. It looks easier than it is. That's y'all tripping. I wish I saw this before cutting my man's hair. Guess he's gonna stay inside for another 2 weeks. You are highly skilled. For those with less skill like me, I found it safer to go in the opposite order than you, from high guard to low. I did this and ended up cutting my whole family's hair. That's awesome. He's been cutting his own hair for 10 years. Caveat. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. I like his channel. Let me subscribe. Lifestyle. He did a blindfolded. Oh my gosh. I gotta watch this one. Yo, let me know in the comments if you guys want me to watch this. He cut his own hair blindfolded. He does some great content. He doesn't release enough content. He goes months without uploading. He's a marketing manager. Yo, I might need you to manage my marketing, bro. Check out Tomb 45. Maybe we can collab on some things. Cool. Great video. I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well. This went way longer than I expected it to. But guys, we drop daily content on this channel. Do you guys want to see me react to more self-cuts? Let me know in the comments below. I definitely want to check out his blindfolded haircut. That sounds very interesting. And with that being said, guys, we drop daily content on this channel. Make sure you subscribe to Jensen Tung. I'm going to put the link to his channel in the description below. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with another upload.